G'day, legends. Welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me are Willie and Jared. How you going, Jared?
Going better than it was this morning. Feels like it was a while ago, but yeah, not looking forward to this one.
You and me haven't been on a pod together in a long time, so this is going to be a great one for us to
Yeah.
get back into it with carrying on a bit. So we just got to get through that 5 minute mark with the YouTube censors, and I think then Willie will probably unleash at that point. How you going, Willie?
Nah, not great. Not great. Really disappointed. This morning has really put an absolute spanner in my good mood I had going all week. So yeah, I'm just going to listen to that elevator music for 5 minutes until I can unload.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, we'll just get straight into the game. It's not ideal. I've been feeling a little rubbish this week, so watched the first half in bed and then fell asleep and didn't miss anything by the looks of it. So good fun. So watch the highlights and everything, or lack thereof, for the second half. But yeah, we'll just get through the lineup here. So starting lineup was Casper in goals, Alistair Johnson, Carter Vickers, Scales, Tierney, Nigrin, McGregor, and Hatate in the middle, and then up front was Ito with Mater and Forrest either side. So when you saw that lineup, Jared, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, just exactly what we thought he was going when he was what he was going to have. I think people were having questions over whether it should be Negan or Engels starting because Engels had a really good game on the weekend. But I mean, the reason he had a good game is because he was resting Negrin for this game. So I don't think there were any surprises on who he picked.
And what about you, Willie?
I'm a little bit surprised Engels got dropped. He had a fantastic game at the weekend for me, and his dead ball delivery is just second to none for me. And I thought we would have pushed Negrin out to the right and maybe had Forrest on the left with Maeda up front. But yeah, maybe Scales and Trusty, you could have that argument there as well. But we've kind of got a first 11 and everybody else, and we're kind of cobbling it together at the moment. We just don't have any depth. So he's kind of went with what he thought was the best 11 on the day. The one or two things I might have done a little bit different, but you can't really argue it because that is pretty much our first 11 at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, all things considered. Like, you look at the starting lineup, like, there's some clear, obvious weaknesses. And as you said, Willie, there's a starting 11. Realistically, we should have a squad of probably 17, 18 players who can chop and change in and out across a bunch of positions so we don't lose anything if players come out, players go in. But we don't have that. And it is a joke. And I know I went through this a few weeks ago on the pod, but realistically, for our strongest lineup here, you're probably looking at, is it Scales or Trusty? And in the middle of the park, is it Engels or Nigrin, as you said? Or should we be pushing Nigrin forward at the moment, playing both of them? Because that's as hard out as we are. Like, James Forrest should be our fifth string winger, in my opinion. He should not be starting in a Champions League qualifier. Like, I just don't get it. Like, no problems with Jamesy, but it's just we're we're asking for trouble. That's the way I look at it. We're absolutely asking for trouble. We're playing with fire. And I said on Monday's pod, I wanted us to get in this game, start fast, go hard at them early, ping in a bunch of shots, and go a bit of that shock and awe with Celtic Park and the crowd and all this. And as you can see, the pod name, I named it Shock and Draw. It was absolutely disgusting. Like, the way we played is just, it's really put me in a bit of a downer, to be honest with you, in terms of how I think we're going to go this season. I honestly thought, oh yeah, we did well last season. We'll get a cup. Okay, we lost Kun, lost Kyogo. We'll bring a few guys in. We'll strengthen up, and off we go again. And it's like Celtic is in a managed decline at the moment, and yeah, it's a bit of a shambles, really. So normally we'd talk about the game, but there wasn't really too much to talk about other than we played like absolute rubbish. The easiest way to sum it up is if I could put a great big poo emoji on the middle of the screen and be done with it, that would be my summary for this game. Yeah, That, I don't really have too much to say about the game. You got anything you want to add, Jared?
Well, in terms of the game, our first half is where our starting lineup was, and that was our worst half. We had 0 shots on goal in that first half, and like I've been trying to be like a little bit more positive, because when I look at the lineup, I'm like, okay, apart from Ada, the lineup is pretty solid. Of course, Forrest shouldn't be starting, but he's a good winger. But like we need someone a little bit better, younger and faster in there in front of him. But when you look at the rest of the team, like that's a really good team. Way better than how they played in that first half, like to do nothing. And Rio seems to have gone back to his old self, doing nothing. I think he had like 95% of his passes went to a centre back. Like I don't know what the hell's going on with it. In the second half, we played a little bit better, but our depth came from Maida moving from one position to another position, and then we ended up with our 4 strikers sitting on the bench. Like so, yeah, we've got 4 strikers, we've got depth, but they all sat on the bench, and we moved a left wing to striker. We moved a centre back to left back. Like our depth's coming from moving people all over the place in the second half. So then, even when we played a little bit better in the second half, it was disconjointed because everyone had moved out of position. Um, and our actual depth, like your McGowan and Bernardo, aren't even getting a sniff at getting on because we're bringing on crappy depth because that's the positions they play.
And I want to jump on that because that was something that I was actually going to say as you were talking there about, Eda starting. And I was looking at the stats and everything, and if this thing will just load, but we had 4 strikers in the squad. We had Eda playing like absolute rubbish. We had 67% possessions. We had 5 shots for the game, 2 on target. They had 7 shots, 1 on target. Did we play down to their level, or are our strikers not fit for purpose, or is it the system we're playing? Willie, what do you think it is? Because we've spoken about this numerous times that we don't have the wingers. We've got a lot of strikers. We've got a lot of centre backs. Should we be switching to a 3-5-2 until we get some wingers in or sort something out? Because the whole lineup and the way it is, it's just not making any sense to me.
Yeah, the lack of width is very, very alarming. And James Forrest is 30, 34 now. You know what I mean? His legs are going to start going. He's not got 60 minutes in him anymore, I don't think. You know what I mean? It used to be the time when you would say, oh, I don't think he's got 90 minutes in him. He might have to come off early. I don't think he's got 60 minutes in him now. He did really well at times, and other times he's just wasteful in possession. Man, Dyson on the left, he's trying to get into the centre because Ida's doing nothing. Ida was just a statue in the middle of that pitch, and Dyson's trying to cover a bit more ground in that respect. But I just don't get it. 3-5-2, you could switch to that. Me and Jared went through it the other week. I think Christmas tree might be the best approach. Go a 4-3-2-1 and bring the wingers in slightly to be more sort of 2 number 10s in there rather than out and out wingers, and allow Tierney and AJ to do the bombing off. Well, AJ's going to be out for 6 weeks now, unfortunately, but allow Tierney and Ralston to give you the width with the 3 holding midfielder, or you could have the 3 central midfielders, 3 number 8s, but you wanted to Kalmak, Engels, and McCowan, Bernardo, Hattati, whoever. You know what I mean? They can drop in and cover the fullback as they go forward. So there are different ways you can play this. It isn't necessarily a 3-5-2 would be for what we've got there. Yeah, it would definitely suit, but you could also play the 4-2-3-1, and like I say again, you just bring your wingers in slightly more to number 10s like Scott Sinclair used to play in that style of role, where you put a sort of more focus on the half space and again allow the fullbacks to overlap and get in that way. But something needs to happen here because, like, for me on the game, watching it back, the defence did okay. Cameron Carter-Vickers was fine. Scales was actually okay as well. The midfield wasn't just too bad, but there was nothing in front of them to pass forward to. So the only thing they could do was turn and go sideways, because what was happening in front of them was just non-existent. And that is the biggest concern, because Celtic are an attacking side, and we focus on attack and scoring goals and just grinding teams down and beating them into submission and scoring shed loads of goals. We don't look like we're going to do that at this moment in time, and that is very, very concerning for me.
The top 5 passes for us, 3 of them were defenders. One of them came on at half time, or when he got injured, actually, was Ralston. Hatade was like our 3rd highest passer or 4th highest with 80 something, but apparently 3/4 of them were passes back to the defenders. So that pretty much sums up exactly what you're saying there, Willie. Like, we've got nothing to pass it forward to. It's just frustrating. You got anything you want to add there, Jared, before I get into the comments?
No, I think that pretty much covers most of what I was going to say about it. Yeah.
There we go. So Brendan McCarthy is saying the result last night shouldn't come as a surprise. The imposters on the board have shown contempt for the supporters since the 80s. Heavy Vibes is saying how Hale Boys fans in the 90s showed how much we love Celtic by our actions. Will the fans of today be as brave? And then I'm going to go this one here. Smell the Glove is saying how back the players sack the board. Now, tying those last few in together, love my club. But unfortunately, because we're a PLC, those guys on the board are the majority shareholders. We can't sack them. You need someone to buy them out. That's what it is. So unless someone in the support sitting on a few billion in their back pocket that they just want to just buy out a bunch of people and be done with it, unfortunately, we can't sack the board as much as I want them out. It's bloody frustrating. Then we'll go through here. So Mahesh is saying board can't be blamed for poor tactics by Rogers. Kazakhs had a number of advantages in their mid-block. Had Rogers, had Eder and Hatade higher against the defensive line. Celtic win by a couple. Don't know about that, Mahesh. Maddie is saying a predicted outcome from months ago. Yeah. How far back does this months ago? January, because we're talking about, look at guys on the bench there. Someone later on said in the comments that Osman was on the bench in a Champions League tie, hasn't even played for the senior team. What did we do last year away at Aston Villa in the Champions League? We brought Dane Murray on for his first game for the first team in years, and we brought on who was that striker that went to West Ham? Cummings. We brought him on for a debut, pretty much, or a Champions League debut. So this managed decline and negligence has been since basically January. People left, and then we lost and we lost Kyogo, and then it's just been gradual since then. So Craigie White saying not enough quality on and off the bench. We're past 5 minutes, so I can finally bring this up for you, Robert. Hand eater, a condom is fucked. Craigie White saying I laughed at Barty, now crying at Eater. You got Smell the Glove saying Eater shouldn't be wearing the hoops again. Robert Gibson saying put Tilio on, at least we can laugh at a hobbit running around. Apparently he's off. Gone now. Yeah, so I'll just keep scrolling through. Yeah. So we'll just keep scrolling. What have we got here? Craigie White, Iron Thousands as well as have poured a bucket of money in his club over the years. I feel seriously shortchanged. And I think that's the feeling a lot of us have. Because they're on the other side of the world, so we can't buy season tickets, but we can get paid for Celtic TV. We can buy merch to put some money into the club. People over shelling out, 650, 700 quid a year for your season ticket. And then getting asked for merch stuff all the time. Clubs saying, give us money, and then they don't invest it. Yeah, a joke. And then there's this one from John Cairns. Today upset me as a supporter. To be fair, it wasn't unexpected. Kun may be one player, but he was one of the reasons we excelled in the Champions League. This year we've sold and bought in nothing. I hate being a parrot and repeat it, but we're run by a bunch of pricks. I think money given by the supporters and playing sales belongs to them. It doesn't. Where's all this money going? We have not players, not improvements to our Celtic Park. If Desmond isn't going to grow a set and step up to sort it out, perhaps he needs to sell his stake. I will give you an applause, John. That sums it up there. And then McLaughlin's saying here, Engels Bernardo Trusty cost 21 million last summer and they're sitting on the bench. So yeah, overall, boys, you got anything else you want to throw in on that?
On the striker part, where we've got Osmond, who's never touched the ball in the first team, he's the fifth string striker now. If you're going to start using Maida, I don't understand why Inamura can't even get on the team. Like, I know Brendan Rodgers said he's not good enough defensively, but he's in a position where there is no one else, and we know that Tierney isn't going to make a whole game. But we have a spot for Osmond. That does my head in. I don't understand that. And then we come to the last 15, 20 minutes, I can't remember where it was, and we put Scales out when we actually need to go forward and we need some sort of attack. Scales can't attack. He looked lost and he was clogging up the left-hand side of the field every time we went up there. I was like, okay, this would have been a nice time to have Inamura playing on the left, but he's not even an option. That's one thing that I just don't get. And yeah, people keep saying sack the board. It's not really an option, but what can we do? Is in some way, I'm kind of well, do we just not qualify for the Champions League and go play in I don't even remember the name of the freaking stupid second league, but just to say to the board, I was like, there goes your 40 million. That's what you've cost us by not spending 6 million on a couple of players. There's your 40 million. It's that's the thing I don't get, is the amount of money that we could get just by getting one or two players. That's all we needed, really. We only need one or two players, and it could cost them $40 million. Not going to the Champions League doesn't affect us, because not getting the 40 million doesn't affect us as fans, because we know they're not going to spend it anyway. So it's not like we're going to be like, yeah, we're in the Champions League, we're getting $40 million. That goes to them, and it's just going to sit in their piggy bank. But maybe I'm hoping it hurts them if we don't end up making it.
Yeah. On that, we talk about you got to speculate to accumulate, and we say Club Brugge is a perfect example of what we should be looking at doing. And I've got their transfer listings for the last few years here, right? So I'll bring it up. So going back to the 23-24 season, they spent 28 million euros and brought in 53 million euros. The players that they were buying were in the range of one guy at 11 million, and then 7.75, 6 million, 2.5 million. That's what they spent for 4 players. And then they sold a guy for 20 million to Strasbourg, a guy to PSV for 12.5, and so on. So they even got Jack Hendry on this list for £5 million, right? Going out. Or 5 million euro. Then the next year, you look at it, and they've spent 31.55 million and brought in 71.65 million. Again, all their signings were 6.9 million, 6.5, 6 million, 6 million, 3. And then you have a look at this year, they've brought in 81.7 million and spent 36 million. And the one that jumps off the page to me here is Arden Jashari. They signed him last year for 6 million from Luzerne and then sold him to AC Milan for 36 million in 1 year. Why aren't we shopping in that 6 million to 10 million basket, like you're saying? If we get 2 players, even how much did we get for Kun? 16 million? There you go. There's 2 of those players at that level that are first team Champions League ready. And if you'll sell both of them, again, for the similar money you got for Kun, or similar or more. So it makes absolutely no sense.
Well, from what we've been hearing, we are shopping in that $6 million £6 million range. It's just that we're offering 4 for them.
Yeah. So are we really shopping in that, man, if we're lowballing bastards?
Mm-hmm.
And talking about us wanting to spend only 2 million, 3 million, whatever, this is what I'm finding frustrating. We're talking about that, and then suddenly we have Alistair Johnson, rip his hammy. He's going to be out for at least 6 weeks, right? So all we've got there is Ralston. Donovan's gone on loan, hasn't he? Or was that the one backing him up?
Donovan, I think he has, but he went on the loan to Ayr, so we can get him back whenever we want.
Yeah. Well, the talk is, and this is what's coming through, Celtic's in for Max Johnston from Sturm Graz for $2.5 million. So you're bringing in him. Derby County's had a couple of bids rejected for him. So it's the son of ex-Sunderland, Hearts and Rangers player Alan Johnston. So one of them. But yeah, we're looking at about €2.5 million. So 2 million. So if we can move quick for someone as a defender to replace an injured player, what the hell are we doing up front? Get a wriggle on. Like Balakwisha, apparently it's agreed with the club finally, but now he's twiddling his thumbs. And if I was him, I'd be like, why would I want to move there? They could have had me 6 months ago. They could have had me a year ago, but they've dilly-dallied around. Why would I want to go there all of a sudden? Because they're getting desperate? Just makes no sense.
It makes no sense for us either. It's like we know we've been looking at that guy for months, and we decide to bring him in after we've already drawn our home leg for a qualifier. It's like, it makes no sense for him, and it makes no sense for us. Like, why couldn't we get this done earlier?
If we're going to bring him in now, like in this window, we should have brought him in, like at this point, I should have brought him in a week ago at least, or 2 weeks ago, because then he's got time to come in bed, train, and we can put him into the squad before the cutoff. Like even if we signed him 3 days ago, he would have been able to play this in last night's game. Makes zero sense to me. So yeah, it's just bloody frustrating, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up these comments. Hey, Willie's dropped out. He's had enough. Bloody Willie. There we go. He fell off a cliff. But yeah, what I'm thinking is there's some comments in here. I'm just trying to go back to them. Dead air is great, but here we go. McLaughlin. The players look deflated. The manager looks deflated. The fans are certainly deflated. And that's a fair summary. Like the way I'm looking at it is, Jared, if you were Brendan Rodgers, you hear his post-match talk where he's come out and they said when sack the board is getting said, it usually means sack the manager. And he's come out and he knows what he's doing. He's not staying. Let's be honest. I've come to the conclusion that if Brendan Rodgers was to pack his bags tomorrow and walk out, I'm on his side this time around, unlike last time. I think it's an absolute joke and he's being led down the garden path. But yeah, what do you think? Is he going to extend and stay, or do you think he looks like he's just doing the old quiet quitting?
I think this might be why they're not spending a lot of money on players. Is I think he's not extending and staying, but I don't think he's quitting. I think he's going to see out his contract to the end of this year and then leave. So the board are probably thinking, well, we're not going to spend all these millions of pounds on new players for a new manager to come in and say, well, I don't want them, I want someone else. I think just from the way it ended last time, I think Rodgers will stay for the team and for the fans rather than for the board. Because I think he can still win the league with the team that he's going to have. Like we can still win the league, maybe not do much in Europe, but that's going to skyrocket his stock when they see all the crap he's had to go through during the season, and then he still wins the league, and then he might walk. But I don't know if he's saying it to try and take pressure off the board or try and get the fans back on side, saying, "Hey, stop saying this because I'm taking it personally."
Yeah, I'm looking at it going. If he's you okay, Willie?
Listen, the Scottish Sun is just reporting that Kairat Almaty fielded a suspended player during the game yesterday.
Yeah, Grymoko.
That would be a 3-0 home win for us, was it not?
Nah, he's not for a simple reason. Basically, what they did was it used to be through the whole qualifying. If you had 3 yellows for the whole 4 rounds of it or whatever, you were suspended. So he's had a booking in every round so far. The
Yeah.
only reason he's not suspended for us, really simple, because once you get past 2 rounds, your old card of qualifying, your old card expires. So his first booking expired. So yeah, if he got booked, if he copped a yellow in last night's game, he'd be out for the next game that we play him. But yeah, it's not going to happen. Back to the Brendan thing, right? So yeah, I just think it was McLaughlin saying, as I said on the bus when Brendan was appointed, he's back to show the real rats are. Robert Gibson saying, I would understand if Rogers walked and I was disgusted when he did last time. Yeah, it's just, for me, I just think it's, I wouldn't blame him for once his contract's, I think he'll see out the contract and then he'll be like, see you later. But I don't trust our board to bring in anyone decent. Like, what are they going to do? Get Sean Maloney or Damien Duff in or give John Kennedy the job? They want a yes man. Yeah. So anyway, we hope he stays anyway, and we can sign him. But as you're saying, Jared, like if he was to sign a new contract, then is the board going to back him? But he's obviously looking at it going, well, get me those players, and then I'll extend my contract. So it's a bit of a dick swinging contest at the end of the day. But anyway, see where we land.
But
Anything
whether
else you
he's going,
what was
like
that?
whether he's staying or going, he needs to not be looking deflated and get the team like up for these games, do his job.
You can be disappointed when you lose a game. Like let's say, for instance, that he lost the game, and you can be disappointed straight after it, right? But we need to get to the point where he needs to bounce back. And I hate fake bullshit in the press conferences, but I would so much rather him just be like, yeah, I'm disappointed with how it went. Blah, 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 we'll be better next time. That's all the sound bites. But then the next day you hear him talking. He's like, oh, yeah, we're really looking forward to the weekend, bouncing back, all that sort of stuff, right? So that's what I want to hear from him. I don't want him to be stewing on it being negative for 3 weeks straight. So anything else, boys, that you want to discuss about the aftermath of the game?
What did I miss when I was internet crashed there? Did you
Just Jared sung a song. He
did
started
he?
singing he's a
Any,
Barbie girl and all this sort of stuff.
no. Did
Yeah,
we discuss his post match interview? No.
a little bit, but go on, jump on it if you want.
There's a lot of negative talk in that for me. A lot of alarming signs in there. He's had some very difficult questions thrown at him, and he's just smashed it straight back into the board's court, and it's up to the board now to respond to him. He was asked. Um, he was asked how has the club been run and has it been run in the proper way, and he replied, "That's not for me to answer." Like, which is basically saying, go and ask somebody who can answer that. Like, he's coming out with comments like it's the lightest we've ever been in key areas of the pitch going into games like this, which is another one which is alarming to hear someone say. So that's another one where he's throwing a grenade straight back at the board. There's only so many ways he can dress this up. There's another comment that came out, which is again concerning because he knows that there's an issue and he's telling them that there's an issue and nobody's doing anything about it. He's clearly airing his gripes at the board through the press right now because he's a very, very calculated individual when it comes to the media. I don't think we're at the Terminado stage yet, but I don't think it's too far from that either. Like I can't see Brendan Rodgers being Celtic manager at the end of the season. If a Real Betis came in for him, say they sacked their manager, or a Bournemouth sacked their manager and look for somebody to come in, Brendan Rodgers would be away. And I don't think he'll stick around. If he doesn't get back in this window, then he's not going to stick around.
Yep, fair enough. So I'm going to go to this thing called I Didn't Hear No Bell. Am I the only person who thinks we will win the away leg? Now, before we answer that, historically, Celtic have never won an away game in Kazakhstan. However, I don't see anything to fear them. I think we could go over there and still get the job done. What do you think, Jared?
Well, their best player, that Satpayev, who's going to Chelsea next year, the idiot got himself a stupid yellow card at the end of the game, and so now he's suspended. We're going to be down AJ, but the way we played, and even Kalmak didn't play well, and so I think like he's usually a little bit more dangerous, and he gets the team up for games where he hasn't really played well. So I think like we've got the players and we've got the skill like in that midfield back area, and we could do it with a bit more aggression and a bit more going forward. Um, I think we can. Like I think we can win. They just need to actually switch on and play.
Yep. So it's McLaughlin saying here, yeah, all 3-3 draws. But he goes, I'm all set for Pens next week, and wouldn't surprise me. Like we go over there, as you said, defense sorted, midfield we've got the better players. Up front, who the hell knows? We just need that mentality thing that okay, I'm just going to go over there and just be the biggest bastard ever. And if you cop yellows and whatever, guess what? As long as it's not a straight red, your card's reset before the group stages anyway. So get over there, be those guys walking around big swinging dicks and just fucking get after it. Don't be afraid to elbow someone. Don't be afraid to shove someone. Get physical. Win the fight, win the game. That's the way I look at it. What do you think, Willie?
Listen, they were a well organised side, right? They had the routine. They were just drilled into them how they would play against us at home, and they stuck to their job, and they did it quite well. But again, I didn't see anything to fear. They didn't really threaten us up front in any way, shape, or form. They had an offside goal, which was clearly offside. Other than that, they had that. Ed Nielsen had a shot from way out, which kind of caught Casper off his line, but went over the bar. Other than that, CCV handled him quite easily. Like Kalmark, well, he kept the game moving, but with little aim in front of him, it's hard because your passes just generally go sideways, and it looks like you're not being productive when you're the midfield engine and you're just putting the ball sideways the whole time. If we can get a focal point that we can get the ball to and make it stick and try and get up the pitch instead of trying to horseshoe it around and try and find an opening, like then I think we can take them. But I'm going to go with McLaughlin P. And I have a funny feeling that game is going to go to extra time and penalties.
I just think it's going to be one of them ones where the first goal, I know it's 0-0, so it's basically like half time in the tie, but the first goal is going to be critical for us. Like if we score the first goal over there, then they have to step out and come to attack, especially in front of their own fans. So, like if they go over and they score, they're going to get up and about, and then they're going to just think, okay, we can defend in front of our fans, whatever, and get through like they've done previously. But for us, if we get that first goal, it changes a lot because then they have to chase the game, and then it'll open up more little gaps for us to exploit. And then maybe someone like Rio Hatade will come into the game. Someone like Kelmac won't have to just be shielding the defense as tight. And then you can get maybe Yang might actually do what he did for the first 60 seconds coming off the bench for more than that. And we can get some impact there. So maybe Ida can actually link up some players and, not look like he's playing in a friggin' ballerina's tutu. Being all soft as shite like that. Like, I would love it if Maeda could play in the middle, but who's going to play on the wings? Anyway,
It doesn't feel like the team trust Ida either. There was a couple of times where Ida was kind of making runs and they were kind of looking and then looking to see what Maeda was doing, and it just didn't feel like they trusted to even pass the ball to Ida at the moment.
what would you if you were in the
No.
midfield, working your ass off, clattering people, battling away, and then you look up and you've got Maeda making like a half-assed jog in behind, or you've got Maeda on the other wing that you can go to. Who would you trust more to get actually be where the ball's going to be passed to? I know what I'll be doing. I'll be hitting it to Dazen as much as I can.
Nah, definitely. I mean, Dyson can hurt people. Adamida, I don't know what's going on there. His head's gone like that. That is one of the worst performances I've seen from a Celtic striker in Europe ever. Like, that was just pathetic. I put the stats up in the group chat earlier. 0 shots on target. I think he had about 4 passes in the game that were accurate, which put his passing accuracy about 83%. But he only made 4 passes throughout the whole game. And nothing. Everything else was 0 shots on target, 0 shots off target, 0 runs in behind. It was just pathetic. And we all want our own players to do well, but Adamida, that you need to get away, have a talk to that guy in the mirror, and just sort yourself out, because you are not cutting it right now, and it is beginning to show, and the fans are getting really pissed off. And if you put in any more performances like that, you won't last much longer.
Yeah, I was just gonna an interesting thought I was gonna say there, and then got distracted, so and lost it. But yeah, it's I just look at it. I think we'll get the job done. I still think we'll go through. Next game, pretty simple. I don't want to see Eder starting on that team sheet. Either we find a way and someone in the squad that we mentioned earlier, Osmond, this is what I was looking at, can play on the left. I'd rather give Osmond a go on the left and play Maeda through the middle or have like Yang or Forrest or whoever on the left and have Nigrin out on the right so Maeda can play through the middle the whole game, then have Eder starting. Hell, I'd even say Johnny Kenny starts before Eder. He's so far off. John Kansas summed it up. Eder's a £9 million kifty. Yeah, so anyway, I think we've had enough of the craziness here and everything. So let's just have a random what do we call it? Phyllis prediction or something. We'll just throw a random prediction out there for the next week, 2 weeks. I'll go. We're gonna go to Kazakhstan. We're gonna win on penalties. We're then gonna come back, and then suddenly we're gonna just have. We're not gonna be able to score for 2 straight games, right? And then we're gonna go to Ibrox and we're just gonna put 5 in. The floodgates will open there. Go on. One of you guys throw something silly out there. Don't leave me on that ledge.
I'm going to say we're going to go to Kazakhstan and win 1-0. I don't think I'll go to penalties. I think we'll scrape one in because Ida won't be up front. And then on the final day of transfer, we'll suddenly get 3 players in.
What positions?
Right back, striker. Actually, no, we're not going to get a striker in. A winger and maybe a left back, which is what we need. We need more wingers than that, though. I just don't see where they're coming from.
We need 2 wingers, a left back, and a right back. They're the key things for me. And then if we feel like being super friendly and generous, get us a backup to Kelmac in the 6 as well.
I don't think we need more midfielders.
We need
firepower.
We need a big bastard in there to just clatter people. What Oliver Abelgard was supposed to be for us in that role, that didn't happen.
I'm going to say Shin Yamada will score against Livy at the weekend, and we'll get 3 players in loan for the end of the window.
What was that, Willie?
Shin Yamada will score at the weekend against Livy, and we'll get 3 players in on loan before the window closes. And that'll be it.
Yeah, we've got some... see how we go. So, anyway, we'll just go into the game against Livy for the weekend. So, let's try and stir things up. Is it at our place or is it over on their plastic? I can't remember.
Oh, it's a home game.
It's at home. That's why Brendan Rodgers decided not to skip this game, because it was a home game.
Fair
And I
enough.
just saw Livy are third on the ladder.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. So, how you feeling heading into the game, Jared?
um, I want to. I want to see Inamura play on the freaking left back and prove Brendan Rodgers wrong. I want to see Shin Yamada actually get some game time and like cement his spot as the number one striker because he puts in a freaking hat trick or does something. Just shows that he can play the position. And just rest whoever needs to be rested. Get Bernardo on the freaking field. McCowan, maybe even try like put Negrin at right wing for a little bit. Like try people in different positions to see what we can actually have, and not put freaking Scales at left back.
Yeah, let's put Hatade at left back.
Why not? I'm all for. Why not like start and put bloody Hatate at left wing and put Negrin at right wing, Maida up the center, and then Bernardo, Engels, and like Kalmak in midfield. What? Just put our best players on. Fuck positions.
Sounds like you're playing some money ball over there, Jared.
It can't be worse.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at some comments here. Pinball saying the Fulham boy is probably our most talented striker who needs game time. Heard Osman's good, but they basically signed him to loan him this year to then bring him back in next year. Craigie White has a thing for you, Willie. Could Willie put the flag around the right way? It's doing my OCD in.
I can't. I'd have to put big pinholes in the wall, and I don't want to do that. Right? No, it hangs that way.
Inamura was a mid-season out of the J League, which is a very good league. Yeah, exactly. He should be playing. Like, I think it's just a dick swinging contest between Brendan and the board with him, and unfortunately, he's being caught up in it. And same with Yamada a bit. Like, they're both quality players. Yamada was identified to be Kyogo's replacement. Let's be honest here. So there's a player there. He's going to take him a little bit to get up to speed with Scottish football. Inamura should be coming in. We're short. We're a man short there anyway. And if he's not going to play him, at least promote Mitchell Frame onto the bench. He counts as one of our homegrown young kids. Have KT mentor him to come through. So, yeah, I'm just getting frustrated with it all. But, yeah, pinball, as you're saying, the proper solutions moved to a 3-5-2. Yeah, Henrik McLarsson, Sinisalo as a striker. Usually I joke and say put the Bricky forward as a striker, but we kind of need him at right back at the moment. So, yeah, Sinisalo as a striker or play him in goals and let Casper have a bit of a run. We all know his old man used to love coming up for corners and stuff back in the day when he was at Man United. So you never know. Casper might be all right having a few shots there. Yeah, so realistically, the game against Livy, got to have some squad rotation. We've got to get through it and everything like that, rest up and everything. So I want to get your expected starting lineup, Willie, and your score prediction. And then we'll go to you, Jared, and then I'll finish it off, and then we'll go final thoughts and end the pod.
So starting lineup for me will be Schmeichel, Ralston, Dane Murray, Scales, Kieran Tierney in midfield, Carmack, Engels, and McCowan. On the wings, probably Maeda and Young, and up front, not Adamida.
Fair enough. You got a score prediction?
4-0.
I'm going to answer this question from Robert Gibson here. How do we rotate mince? It just makes more mince. You rotate mince and it becomes dinner. That's how I would answer that. But anyway, Jared, starting lineup.
I'll stick with Schmeichel, Ralston, Dane Murray, and Trusty Tierney to start with, and then hopefully Inamura comes on. And then I'll go McGregor, Negrin, Engels, Yang, Shin, and Maida.
Score.
2-0.
So for me, I'm looking at it and going, Schmeichel, be KT, Trusty, Dane Murray, and Ralston. As you said, I want to see Inamura playing more, but I don't think Brendan will do that. Middle of the park, Bernardo, McCowan, and we'll go Calmac. And then up front, I want to see Shin start. I want to have Mater on the wing, and I will have Yang get the run out. And score prediction is going to be a 2-1 win for us. So, yeah, with that in mind, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll go to our final thoughts and we'll wrap the pod up. Bit of a shorter one because, the game didn't have too much to talk about in depth because it was just a frustrating, bit of, massive poo emoji of that game. So, yeah. Willie, you got a final thought?
Aye. Michael Nicholson, Peter Law, get to fuck.
Jared?
I like mince. I had mince for breakfast, lunch, and dinner today, so I don't want to hear any more shit about mince.
My final thought is Jared's green lights in the background look class. I have white envy with my whole setup. Cheers, everyone. Hail, hail.
Yep.